It's Event Rentals with Aaron here, and a big piece of advice that I could give you is before you secure a booking, Google the address and the venue. Now, when I say that, I don't mean just to figure out how far it is from you. I mean so you actually see where you're going to be setting up. Because I am telling you, there could be obstacles that if you do not prepare for ahead of time, could just throw off your entire setup and make you work a lot harder than you had to. So I got a couple stories about this and how I had to learn the hard way. But before we get into it, yes, I am filming in my stairs just because that's the only space I have right now. But also, I'm Event Rentals and Aaron, and I'll be posting regularly about the journey of building my photo booth and event rental business, how-to tutorials, and everything in between. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure you hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up. Now, let's get into the video. So something that I had to learn the hard way, and I had to learn this lesson multiple times because I didn't realize it initially, is you got to Google where you're actually setting up. Because one, there could be potential obstacles that you may encounter that you didn't think about. And two, it helps you ask the right questions in the quotation stage before you even secure the booking. So let me tell you some stories. So this is one of my very first bookings. I am hungry for business. They say, oh, it's in this city. This is the address. I didn't even bother to Google it because I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of know the area. Turns out it was a condo building. Now, I don't know about you, but in my area, condo buildings, visitor parking is usually always downstairs in the garage, and the people don't really set it up. And then you got security saying you can't park here for more than 10 minutes, if there's even parking available. And you got to unload your car, bring yourself to the lobby, to the lobby, to the elevators, then to the elevators, to the condo party room. That's usually on like the fifth floor or something. So something like that is one, so much more work than if I were to be able to just pull up to the front of the venue and just set up instantly because I'm setting up in the foyer. And two, you really want to know what you're getting yourself into because that is also time consuming. What if I have multiple events and instead of budgeting the appropriate 45 minutes potentially to set up for this event, I only budget 20 minutes and then it throws off my entire schedule. So that is why it is super important to know what type of building you're actually going to be setting up at, especially if it's something like a house, because then you want to ask, am I going to be setting up inside? Am I going to be setting up outside? Or am I going to be in the backyard? Because then that involves a little bit of off-roading. And again, additional work. They got to think about the electrical, just things like that. So story number two of how I learned this the hard way. So I was booked for a gala. And it was at this gorgeous banquet hall that I've never done before. I was super excited because I always see it coming off the highway. So first of all, the parking is across the street. I didn't know that. So I had to bring my dolly with all my stuff across the street and take multiple trips. And then when I got to the front of the banquet hall, you know what I encountered? Stairs. Just 3 to 5 stairs. Just enough where I am now unable to just wheel my stuff in. And when you have a photo booth, when you have a printer, when you have a flower wall that you need to bring in, you can't really simply just, just one little lift. You got to bring all of that stuff in. So what I had to do was I had to find a staff member, which luckily someone was there, and bring my stuff all the way to the side of the building to then go up a ramp that was just like zigzagging, very narrow. And again, ultimately, if I Googled the banquet hall ahead of time, if I knew all of this, I would have went at least half an hour earlier because yes, this took so much more time and a lot more physical effort. So by the time I actually got to the place I had to set up, I was a little tired, not gonna lie. But again, this is why you need to actually be familiar with where you are going to be setting up and where you are going to be booked. Because up until that point, I was so used to banquet halls where I could just pull up, drop my stuff off, park my car, wheel my stuff in maybe 10 feet to the area in the foyer where I was going to set up. So again, this is a lesson where I really had to learn the hard way. And I'm like, I need to make sure I Google the venues first. So here I was. I had these experiences, and I think, you know what? I'm good. I'm familiar with this stuff now. I know to Google the outside of a venue. Now, this story, and my last story about this, is make sure you Google the inside of the venue too. So, I get booked for a wedding. Now, this is a little bit out the way in the direction that I don't really go. And the parking situation was a little crazy because it was further from the actual space. But again, I Googled the front, so I knew that. So I was ready for it. But you know what I was not ready for? The fact that this was a bit of an older venue, okay? So I think they didn't have to have certain things. And by that I mean no elevators. Because you know what I encountered when I wheeled my stuff in? Steps. The banquet halls were elevated like 8 steps up. And again, when you have a photo booth, when you have a printer, when you have a flower wall, that's a lot of stuff. And now I don't have an elevator to actually physically bring my stuff up in one go. So I had no choice but to actually lift everything one by one. And again, that is taking up time, that is labor intensive, and that can really alter your setup and also get you a little bit sweaty before you even have to start the setup, right? So that made me realize I don't just Google the outside of the venue, I Google the inside of the venue too. Now, with that being said, in the quotation stage, get the address, but also ensure, again, you do the street view of the outside. You try to find pictures of the inside to the best of your abilities, because that's just going to allow you to make sure you budget the appropriate amount of time and you know how much physical labor and effort is going to go into this setup. Because then if you want to charge a little bit more because it's going to be a lot more work and take a lot more time, then that is your choice and your discretion. But you want to actually give yourself the chance to be able to make that choice. So that's the video, and this is the message. Google where you're going. Make sure you know what the venue looks like, and inside and outside. So, as always, I'm Event Rentals with Darren, and I'll be posting regularly about the journey of growing my photo booth and event rental business, how-to tutorials, and everything in between. If you check the description of this video, you'll see Amazon links for all the stuff that I use for my photo booth and event rental business. And you'll also find a link to the photo booth software I use. In addition, you'll find a link to my Patreon where I'm trying to build the most helpful community of photo booth and event rental entrepreneurs where we all help each other win and get more bookings. A rookie or you're a vet, is going to be a place where we can all come together and help each other out to book more business. Now that's the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.